Okay, this is D2D Advanced Tableau Training. My name is Shahida Jeffries, and feel free to ask any questions as they arise. GSA is currently on Tableau version 2019.3, but the exercises that we're going over in this class should work from version 10, Tableau 10, and up to 2019.3. So the objectives of this advanced class today is to go over different type of statistical analytics. Some of the things we'll be doing is the Pearson correlation, z-scores, reviewing the analytics pane, linear regression, and clustering and analytics. And so this class assumes that you have already taken the beginner and intermediate class. So move right on into the advanced class. This is just giving you a short description of, I know it's been a while, so sometimes I forget between mean and mode. So this is just an example of how to, what mean versus, excuse me, what mean versus median versus mode means. So that's just for your reference. So this is different ways of estimating using your, and this is a, over here is the legend for what all of these things mean. Like sigma means to summate everything in between here. So you have just summation and then your value. And it's basically breaking down the variance. And so if you need to do square root, so what this basically is going to show you is that Tableau has these functions built in automatically. So it's basically showing you what Tableau would be doing in mathematical format. So if you pick standard deviation in Tableau, then it's doing this formula. If you pick variance in Tableau, then it's doing this formula. So that's basically what this is showing you, the details of what's going behind the scenes, because you won't be able to see it doing this. But when you select those functions inside of Tableau, this is exactly what it's doing. So our first exercise is to perform the z-score analysis. And we're going to open up Tableau, connect to the pane, and what does it want us to? It wants us to pick the FY18 CPP award data extract file. So before we were doing Excel files. So this time we're going to do a Tableau extract file. So I'm going to show you how you would grab the extract file versus the Excel that we did last week. So I'm going to start Tableau. Okay, so to connect to a Tableau extract file, you have to hit this more field right here. And then it automatically goes to your hard drive and looks for Tableau extract files. This is where you would select the one we're looking for, which is CPP something. Let's find it. It's not going to be in my downloads. It's going to be in data sources. So yeah, just note that most of your files are in the data source folder, Tableau repository data source. And then here, I want to open this up so you can see. We're looking for the Tableau extract file here. Make sure there's no more. So we did the more. We looked for the Tableau extract file, and now we're going to create a new sheet titled Z-Score Viz. And we're going to create these calculated fields here. So I'm going to just get out of presentation mode so I can easily grab these in. So what window means, window average means whatever is on the Tableau window. Average was in the window only. So we're going to next go and create this sheet here, Z-score viz. And then we're going to create a calculated field called average unrestricted fair. Remember with the drop down here and create calculated field. It wants us to name it average, AVG. And then just doing for unrestricted fair, UNR. So here there's an error. And the reason why there's an error is because this doesn't recognize this field here. So need to just highlight it and start typing unrestricted. And there it is. It has a little bit of different. So that's what happens if you're working in the workbook and you might have changed the name or changed the for uppercase, capital, or things like that. You might have to start typing the word and then find it that way to fix your error. So that's our first calculated field, the average unrestricted fair. The next one is standard deviation for the unrestricted fair window. STDEV. And our last calculated field is doing the actual calculation for Z-score. So Z-score consists of these two formulas above, the average and the standard deviation. And over here to the left is what we're doing when we do this calculated field here. And that's the formula for performing Z-score. So, oh yes, our favorite person that keeps getting. So now that we've created our 3 calculated fields, we now need to drag the city name to the row shelf and then the Z-score that we just created to the column shelf. And then we're going to do a filter on origin state. Remember the magnifying glass to help find your fields. So since we created this, it's going to be at the very bottom. Drag this to the column shelf. And then it wants us to filter on origin state. So let's find origin state and show filter. It wants us to sort the data in descending order. and then review the results for Dutch Harbor. So descending order, I believe it's this one. Nope, that's ascending, sorry, this one. And then we need to look for Dutch Harbor. Oh, should be, thought it was up top here. Where's Dutch Harbor? Okay, let's see if we can find it. So I'm having trouble finding, so I'm going to create a filter for original city name. Let's see if I can, and I'm going to do a highlight instead of to just filter it totally out. So see if I so let's add it to the filter, and then I'm going to show. Oops, originals. Okay, so it's already over here, and now I'm going to pick highlighter. Should be down this list here. Oops. Yes, Daniel. This was an email I sent out last week. So yes. So let's go back to Tableau. I'm trying to solve. Okay, where we are, right here. So I think this is the button. Where's my button? So I want to be able to pick highlighter. Oh shoot! I can't believe I can't remember this. Anyway, let's just search for Dutch. Okay, that's the reason why I can't find it. It's not in my data set. Sorry, I was inherited this PowerPoint presentation. So basically, the main thing I want you to view is that you can quickly see the highest amount when you do the descending sort here. So that's actually Bethel. Let's change this. So this is the value of your z-score. And basically with the references saying z-score calculation enables you to quantify how many standard deviations an observation has from the mean. So from the middle, well, that's like the next screen here. So from the mean, how many standards do we have? This is the first one, the second deviation, and the third. So it's showing you how far are you away from the median of your data here. So that's what the purpose of z-score is. So the next thing it wants us to do is to filter everything out, leaving only Alaska. And this is how you can also kind of just review one set of data and see how it fits as far as your z-scoring and checking. So that's much easier to digest looking at it per state. When you also do, we'll also see some, we'll get to the part where it'll show p-values. This is more the back-end statistical information within Tableau. And they'll have z-scores and p-values. When we do clustering, you'll start seeing that data automatically put in. If you use the software R, this is where you can develop p-values and other models, and then implement it into Tableau, and it'll pull in your models, and then you can perform visualizations on that statistical data. Carl Friedrich Gauss was a major contributor to various parts, various graphics and calculations. So they just wanted us to make note of that, tell you that he's responsible for a lot of the mathematical equations we use in a lot of our statistical modeling today. So the next one we're going to do is we're going to create a sheet called Correlation Viz. So correlation identifies a linear relationship between a sample set of data for two variables. So we're going to go ahead and perform that example now. Create a new sheet called Correlation Viz, and then drag passenger count and unrestricted fares. So basically you have two measures, one at the row and one at the column shelf. And this is how you get a correlation type visualization. Create a new sheet. So we want to take the passenger count. Let me see my fields here by dragging this a little bit over. Passenger count is here. So I'm going to drag that to the row shelf. Next, we're going to take the unrestricted fare and drag it to the column shelf. As soon as you put in two measures, it automatically does this type of visualization, which is a correlation type visualization. What it's doing now is it's taking all of the fares and all of the passenger counts and summing it up into one mark, 1 point on the graph. To see this broken down, we go to the Analysis tab and uncheck the aggregated measure. And then now this can give you a more broken down view of how the fare, the passenger count compares to the fare. So things like you can see that this is the highest fare over here, and this is the highest passenger count here, and that there's a lot of things that are very close together down here. So you get this kind of graph by bringing in two measures, one at the column and one at the row shelf. It's going to be a single dot. Click on Analysis and make sure the aggregated measure is unchecked. And now we wants us to drag city pair to the labels mark card so we can see some of these fields. So let's see if we have city pair in this. We do not, so we can just add it in. We can, from last week's class, just find city. Let's find city here. And we click on the first field, hold the control key down, click on the second field, then the drop down, create combined field. I'm going to edit this combined field by calling it city pair, giving it a name city pair instead of the default name. And I want to put the original location before the destination location, so I'm going to drag it here. And I'm going to make this a dash. Okay. So now I have city pair, and once we put over the labels mark, I believe that's what it said. Yep, the text. Let's see, let's make sure. City pair over the labels, yeah. And so that's a little bit big, so you can click on the label itself and make it smaller. I tend to always pick Arial. Oops, still 7. And so now that's how we can see some labels of that Washington to Atlanta is the highest passenger count. Next, it wants us to create a new sheet and call it correlation analysis. And we're going to create a calculated field called, this is the formula for the Pearson correlation. That's one of the formulas, which is all this math here. We're going to create this in Tableau. And what it is this, there's a function within Tableau called CORR for correlation, and it's doing all this math here. So that's basically what it's doing. It's doing all of this. And all you have to do is put in this, use this value. And what you're doing is you want to correlate your passengers to your fare. So that's what it's doing. And it's doing all this math for you. Right, calculated field. Let's see if I'll have, of course, we have to fix these words in here. It wants us to give it this name here. Basically, when you're using the core, and don't forget that if you don't know the syntax, you can always type it over here to the right. And it shows you the syntax and gives you an explanation. So this one is correlating sales to profit example. So you just basically put in two measures and the formula CORR that's built into Tableau to do the correlation analysis. So now we're going to drag the original city name to the row shelf and the field that we just created, Pearson correlation passenger fare, to the text marks. And it should be towards the bottom, right here. So this is doing that calculated formula, correlation formula for each one, for each city. It's doing the analysis between fare and passengers per city name. Next is wants us to take number of records to the row shelf and make it discrete. So remember, when we drag a measure, it automatically puts it in this format. And so for us to see it, the value, we change it to discrete. So basically, if there's only one value, there's nothing to correlate because you need two, at least more than one record to correlate something, right? So there's, as you see, the records with just one value don't have any correlation. And so it's basically showing you this is based on 28 records. Next, we're going to drag the Pearson correlation fare field to the filters card and filter for values with at least 0.20. We go to at least. Point 2.2. And so that gives you positive ones. Next, we're going to drag the number of records to the filters card and only pick at least 15 records only. Oh, we want at least. Oh, why is it not showing the at least here? So I'll do a minimum. Oh, so I had to pick that. So at least 15. Oh, what happened to my data? Go back. Let's try that again. Let me just pick minimum 15 records. Oh, wait a minute. Only has the only values. So it has here only relevant values. I want to pick all values in the database, and it's still only giving me one. Now that is a problem. Why is it only giving us one record? So some things, like I said, Tableau does weird stuff. We can clearly see number of records here is there, but for some reason it's not working. Let me see if somebody's helping me out. I appreciate any help. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Do the sum. Let's pull it. At the sum is set at least to 1. So sum. Okay, thank you. There we go. We need to click on. So key thing for this exercise, like I said, if you don't do this a lot, it will be hard to figure it out. So the key thing, thank you, who gave us this info, is to click the sum here. And then now you have, so don't do minimum, what I showed you before, do sum. And then now I can now have the at least, and I have the values that I need. So that's the key part. When you go back to the recording, just remember to do sum. Thank you. And so now we have the list of values that have at least 15 records and a score of 0.20 and higher. I want to make this a little bigger so we can kind of look at this. So this is the way it's saying to interpret the correlation as far as 0.20. It's giving you some metrics that you can use when you're trying to understand the correlation statistical value. Okay, our next exercise, we're going to go over using the analytics pane. We're going to create a new worksheet and title it Analytics Summarize. It wants us to take the city name and the city pair both to the row shelf, and then unrestricted pairs to the column shelf. Just look for city. Next, it wants us to drag the passenger to the colors mark. I don't know if we have packs in here, but we'll look and see. So I'm going to just count. I'm just going to create, oh, here's passenger count here. Let's see. Oh, it doesn't. Okay, so I'm going to take this field here, which is the passenger count, and drag it. Where does it want us to drag it to? The colors mark card. And from last class, we would pick something that gives us a better way to visualize things much faster than just keeping it the same color. So right now it's blue, and it's showing dark blue as the highest passenger count. We change the color by going in, clicking on the color mark card, and edit and select a different palette. I usually like to pick something with red in it. And so, yeah, so this is okay because I want red to be the low and green to be the high. If I wanted to reverse it, you just click reverse. So it's not that many in here. Also, I wanted to go over one more thing in this color mark card. You can also pick step. And since it wasn't any, I'm just going to pick 3 steps. So then you only get these 3 colors only. So I'm going to get red, beige, or green. So basically meaning this is low, this is high, this is okay, medium, normal, or something, as far as your passenger count. Remember that you can get a little space in between these names by just doing your cursor like that a little bit and dragging it. And you can also move over. And it should automatically wrap when you move that field over. Yeah, so Kansas City wrapped. This looks like a lot of red. Let's see what happens when we change it to just 2 steps. This should have just red and green, but like it's still just a lot of red. But yeah, you can definitely use this to tell your story better. If it's not giving you what you need, just can up the. You have to find one that has a lot of variances to see it. Here we go. Ooh, there. Over here you have all the different ranges in there. Okay, so orange, blue. Okay, I want just to pick orange. We'll pick the same one it asks in a orange, blue, light diverging. Let's pick that one. Hit apply. See what it looks like. Yeah, that's much better than the bright red. Does it want us to do any kind of, no, it doesn't do any steps or anything there. Okay, so we're going to hit OK. Next, we're going to drag the original city name to the filters card. Does it want us to pick any special thing? It does not say pick a specific thing. Okay, so we're just going to select all. And then we're going to switch to the analytics pane and drag average line to the viz. So the analytics pane is right next to the data. I'm going to just take this off so we can see all our fields. So we have the analytics pane here. And this is where you'll get all of your different reference lines, average lines. So it wants us to drag the average line, and you'll have different choices when you drag the average line. So this is the average line here. We drag it to our visualization, and then it lets you pick whether you want it per table. So the first one we'll do is per table. So across the entire table, that's the average. We're going to drag it again and do pain. So now this is per Wilmington, per this pain. That's the average. It's hard to see that one. This is close to, so here we go. That's the average right here. So this one goes across the whole entire table. This one is just within this pane here. This is the average for the, I'm sorry, it's hard to read this. Let me bring it right like this. Okay, here. So this is the entire table. This is the pane right here. This pane is very large. Let's pick a small one. So that one is up and down, and this one is just right here, just for this pane. Next, we're going to do average line per cell. So within this cell itself, and I want to just see if we can see this. I'm going to drag, let's undo some so we can see the difference. So let's drag the line per cell. See, it's kind of hard to see because it's right at the edge of the bar right here. That's the average line per cell. Now I'm going to remove those other lines so you can see where it's showing that average right there. Then this is per pane. So it's staying within the pane here. So you should see this line going higher. So this one is a little bit wider. Let me move this up a little bit back too so you can see some more data on the screen. Here, let's go up a little bit. And so now you can see that one line is out further than the other for per pane. And then the entire table right there. And I don't like these words, so I'm going to change my format. So I click on Format and Font, and I'm going to select for the entire worksheet. I'm picking our Arial and smaller. Even go to 6 sometimes. Since it's all caps. But you can play around with it to see what's the best visualization that, depending on what your goal is. Is your goal to see as much as possible, or to make it, because that controls the scrolling, or how much scrolling you would have to do. So if we make it bigger, you have to do more scrolling. Next, it wants us to right click on the average line for the table and click Edit. Yeah, I gotta figure out what that's the thing. We don't know which one. I think this is it. Okay. And remember, if you have to get it right on the, because I'm clicking on the right, and this is what I'm getting if I'm doing it on the bar. So I want to make sure I get on the line. And then you have other options that you can use. And so we can change the average to sum, or maximum, minimum, median. So let's change it to median. That's what our instructions say. Values to median. And then we can go over the median with quartiles and totals. So I want to move this over so we can see here. So as you pick different things on this list, you can see what it's doing. But before I do that, I want to right now I needed to show everything. Okay, I didn't want to. Let's scoot this over some. Oh, so it automatically grays it out. I was trying to see if it can show it with it. So you can kind of look at the different options and look at your visualization and see if it's things that you want to show. You can play around with it and see. So let's keep it here and see what it does. Let's see what this looks like when it's not. So right now, that's the entire average in gray going all the way across with the band. Let's change this to distribution. So yeah, it's just basically when you go in, just kind of play around with different things and see if that's the best way to really see which ones is the best fit to use. We'll just see what this does. I don't know what it's going to do. That's how I find a lot of things. I find them by accident, to tell you the truth. I go in and just start playing around with different things. And what I like to do a lot is always right click, duplicate, and then you can continue just trying different things. See what it's not gonna. So for some reason I can't get back to my. So that's the end of part one, but I wanted to go over some other things. And I'm going to send this email out real quickly. If anyone else needs the email with the class material, let me know. I'm ready to send it out right now before I go with this next segment of showing you different scenarios where you would use these type of statistical models. So just chat me your email address, and I'm going to send that right now, right before I go over the next segment. If I can find it, here it is. Okay, let's see. We got. Thank you. I will send that now. Hey, I sent this to you guys. Y'all didn't see it? Oh my! I definitely recognize John Teagan's name. Okay. All right, but I'll send it again. Let me send it right now. Sent. Let's see my sent box. I have to go past all of you guys' certificates now to find that material. All right. And if you did not get your class certificate from class last week, send me an email. But I believe I sent all the ones that I was aware of. So give me a second to find the email. There it is. Tableau Intermediate Training Class. So this actually, let me go back up. Okay, here it is. I'm sending it now. Forward. I'm adding the emails in here. Kelly, John Teagan, Kaija. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Kaija.
No worries. It's a tricky one. It's Kaya. Thank you.
Kaya. Oh, cool. Kaya. Okay. The J's pronounced H. Got it. Okay.
Thank you.
All righty. Kaya and Dawn Levy. Got it. All righty. So I'm sending that now. Okay, that email is sent. So basically, the email that I just sent you is taking you to the Google Drive where the training material is. So basically, this is what you would do just to kind of get some more information on the class and some tips and tricks. So this is the link that I sent you to this drive here. So I'm going to open up sample workbooks. See if we have found some very interesting things online that I wanted to share. So here's a z-score sample, the z-score calculation. Oh, okay, download it, yes, please. I forgot I didn't download it in this part of my. Okay, so we're going to open up the z-score sample workbook here. So I know sometimes I'm like, okay, that's nice. I hear all this math, but how can I actually use it in real life? So I've looked and found some examples. And so this person just was getting real mathematical. They put in, and you can grab these and download them to your machine and play around with them and see how they did this. So basically, this is just probably a picture that they dragged in here. They did this picture outside, and then they just brought in an image and then dragged it in here. So that's all that is an image. And then this is showing z-score calculation across countries. Oh, also, let me see if it let me do this. So also you can, let's see if it'll let me go on a GSA machine and do it, but you can go to tableau.com. This is where I find a lot of this information. I don't know, let's see, hopefully it's let me into here. Okay, great. And view the gallery. So there's this little button here. I want to find the gallery. I don't see it. Let's see. Yeah. I know sometimes different browsers is hidden, but it's basically the public Tableau public. Let's see if I can do it, find it this way. Public Tableau. Yes. So here, publictableau.com. And then you can start searching for example, z-scores type workbooks and how people use it. And it's tons and tons of examples. So here's one right here. It gives you all, and always try to document what your visualization is portraying if you can. Sometimes you have a lot on there, you can't put a lot of words in there. So if possible, do that or put it in the tooltip. So this person basically is documenting the county z-score. So let's look for correlation. Let's see, Parsons coefficient. Let's see. And this is how I get a lot of different ideas on how to set up different sheets. So this is a correlation, and it's correlating your price versus earning share. And then basically looks like stock data, earning share, high and low kind of thing. Close some of the workbooks that you're not using because it takes up a lot of memory. So I thought this was pretty interesting here. This is using the z-score. So basically, this is a regular line chart, and this is the line chart using the z-score values. So kind of showing it a different view of the same data. Let's look at his formula. Is there anything anyone wanted to go over specific, like from last class? We have some time, so if you have any specific requests, you can make that now if you like. Oh, so that it's not editable because he pre-calculated it into his data, so we can't see the behind the scenes. I don't know if this had to describe. So also you can click on fields and do a describe, and it kind of gives you some information on what a little bit of information on that. So we're going to go over, I also have an example of R, but I don't know, I usually do this on my other computer. So if you want to see the example of in a Tableau using R integration, let me know, because I have to share my other computer because R is actually installed on the other computer, not this one. But in this, you have access to all of this. R examples of using R, tools, Gauss curve, the LOD example that we went over last week. This is one I thought was very interesting, showing the box plot versus z-score. And you can do just what I'm doing, just go in there, click on it, download it, and kind of dissect it, digest it, go in, pull it apart, and see what's going on. So here, it's showing the traditional box plot right here. And then here is what it looks like with the z-score. So, for example, for accessories, that's what it's showing this line. But when I added the z-score for the accessories, it gives me a lot more marks to analyze. So definitely download these and go behind the scenes and play around with these workbooks. But this is an example of showing you z-score versus the box plot with z-scores versus regular box plot. And to go to the sheet, you click on the sheet, it's the sheet itself, and you can go here or here. And now we own the actual sheet, and it's showing you how they did this. So they took the z-score, put it over the color, and did a subcategory by profit. And these are the subcategories here. So just, go in there and try to use these as examples to create different workbooks. So our next class, we will do a little bit more statistics, but I'm going to also show some more newer stuff that's in 2019, like mapping, graphics, and things like that. So if you have anything else you want me to review or go over, please send me an email or chat me. But if there isn't any, let me just check before you guys leave. Don't leave just yet. But if there's anything else you want to review, just let me know, and I'll make sure to add it into the class. So don't leave yet, because it looks like some more people joined since last time I did the screen print, and I want to make sure everybody gets credit. Let me just start it. One of the requests that I recently received was finding a substring, say it's in there 2 or 3 times in a long string. Let's just say Mississippi, for example, you're looking for ISS. How many times is ISS in Mississippi? And where is the last instance of ISS? Where's the last occurrence of a substring within a string? So I just created that dashboard example, and I will be adding that to the folder also. So you'll see little tips like that when you need to find out how to do things, because it's kind of hard to absorb all of those different formulas in Tableau. So it's best to not reinvent the wheel. If somebody already figured it out, just grab a workbook that is already doing the formula and just use it. So I will be adding that to the folder on how to find the last occurrence of a substring within a string. So that was a request that was recently sent to me. So if you have anything like that type of request, let me know so I can, because some of this stuff is not right off the top of my head, so I'll need a little bit of time. So just send me an email or chat me, and I'll be happy to get those examples for you. Any questions or concerns? Okay, thank you for your time, and we'll see you on Thursday. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.